Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. This is the third installment of the Overwhelmed Mama series. I'm so overwhelmed, I don't remember what I'm talking about. And as you'll notice, I haven't moved from the spot I did the first two in because I had a quiet time right now, so I'm doing three of them in a row. So the next point I wanted to talk about a time that we feel overwhelmed with our children, but again, it's not our children's fault we feel overwhelmed with them, and ways to fix the anger and impatience we might be showing to them, is to make sure that when you are with your children that you are giving them attention, because sometimes children can feel overwhelming because they crave our attention. And just like I crave my husband's attention sometimes, and I'm like, honey, can we stop this activity so we can just go sit down and talk, or we can sit down and snuggle, or whatever it is that we want to do. Our children feel the same way, and they want our attention in a positive way, not just oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. A positive way. They want to feel praised. They want to feel like we actually love them, that they're a blessing, that we want to be around them. So making sure that we're doing those things. So one of the ways that we can do that is to actually give them our attention. So when they come up to us, actually looking them in the eye, actually, hey honey, what do you need? Looking at them during the day to see what their needs are, and actually engaging with them when they come up, instead of just yeah, okay, yes honey, I hear what you say, we can deal with that later, please, remind me at supper time and we'll deal with that thing. Because sometimes you can't deal with it right at the moment. Maybe you're in the middle of a reading lesson with one of the kids and you need to get back to this child. But instead of seeing the child as being the problem and being overwhelming, realize their need for attention, their need for you to understand them, and give them a time where they can get that problem out. Depending on the age of the child, like my 2-year-old, when he has a need, I have to deal with it pretty quick. Like, I can tell him to wait for a minute, but I'm not going to be able to tell him, hey honey, we're going to talk about that later. But like an older child, we have lots of long discussions with teenagers way too far into the night, because that's when their problems seem to be the biggest and they need to talk about them, and that's okay. And setting aside myself and my desires so that I can focus on them and their needs, even if that means it's late at night and I'd like to go to sleep. I'm not saying there are times to say we can't deal with this right now, but making sure that you're not always putting them off for another time. Also, touching our children. I think in this society we have become so individualized that we don't take the time to actually touch each other. Like, I know that we give hugs to a lot of our friends and the people we go to church with, and even Holy Kiss, people that we go to church with and know are Christians and that type of thing. But I think just as a society, especially since COVID, where you don't want to shake hands, we got to do the fist bump and all of that, we forget how much the touch is needed. We had a baby who was in the hospital at 3 weeks old, Samuel. He had RSV. Well, he didn't have RSV. He had bronchiolitis, which is similar to RSV. And we had to be in the hospital and being monitored. And when we did that, his oxygen levels would stay up if we were touching him. Like, I could be holding him, or I could have him down and just touching him on the bed. But either way, his oxygen levels stayed up. And if I let go of him, his oxygen levels would immediately start dropping. And just that power of touch, God put it in us to be in community and to be with each other. And so sometimes the attention our children crave is just to climb up on our lap while we read the book. Or maybe as you walk by them, just give them a quick hug at the side. Like, I know I do that with one of my daughters who makes meals regularly here in the home, Naomi. She'll be in the kitchen and I'll just come up and I'll put my arm around her. Hey, do you need anything? Do you need help? How's things going? Maybe it, with the little one, it's, tousling their hair. I think that's what you call it. Maybe giving them a back rub. Some of my kids right now, we have this routine at bedtime that everyone gets their pajamas on. We all sit in the living room and pray. And a friend gave me some tallow that she had made. She has an apothecary, and so I just rub it on my thumbs, and it's gonna be hard to show you because I do it on the kid in front of me, but I rub just above their eyebrows, and then I rub here on their cheeks, and it's just a way that each of them gets mommy's touch right before bed. It's something that they want. They fight over who gets to have it first. Not like fight in a bad way, just like, hey, can it be my turn tonight? But it's something that's just become a physical touch between me and them at a certain time of day. I have 3 kids, who really benefit from having some good deep hugs, cuddles in the morning. We call them squishes. And so they get in my lap and I just squish them really tight first thing in the morning, and it just helps them regulate their body. Just the power of physical touch. Having everybody sit close when you're doing school. When we read books, we have what's called a seat and a half, so it's not quite as big as a love seat, and we easily get 4, 5, 6 people on there because they all squish around me and they're kind of like sitting on top of me and all around, but they really enjoy that sense of touch. Also, just making sure throughout the day that you are affirming them. Maybe like something I do on a regular basis, because I'm the homeschool mom, and so, you know, they get their math done and they come and show me, and then I'll be like, hey, how about you leave that out so we can show daddy later? Or, hey, take that to your big sister and tell her what you did for school. And having the other people in the family also give them positive reinforcement. Not just saying that you should say, yay, good job for everything. I'm not saying that. But when you've seen that they've worked hard and things like that, to encourage others in the family to also praise them, because they just thrive on being praised, just like we do. I like to hear when I've made a meal, oh, this is good, thank you, mommy. You know, I like to hear, thank you for having clean underwear in the drawer, or, you know, oh, the house looks nice when my husband gets home from something. That makes me feel good. It's not that I can't do my job without that, but it definitely, you know, lifts my mood. And I think as moms, with being overwhelmed with life happenings, we forget that our children need that praise too, and just encouraging them through our words and our actions every day that we want to be close to them, and that we think that they are a decent human being who we want to be around. Sorry, the light's doing a weird thing. But just, I find that even if I'm finding things being overwhelming, if I remember to take the time to be close to the kids and to praise them, I find them to be a blessing, even in the midst of that overwhelm. So thank you for joining me on this 3rd installment of Overwhelmed Mama on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.